Welcome back to another Plasticon review. Today we're going to cover Advenger, the train. We already took a good look at Goldrun. Goldrun looks really good on the back of this thing. Even in robot mode, it's kind of funny how he'll just stand on here. You can turn him this direction here as well if you want. And he does have these two little nubs here that are on the train car itself, which kind of helps hold him on there. Pretty cool. It does have a lot of space here in the back, so if you want an Optimus Prime or somebody like that to just chill out on the back, you can. You know, it's a pretty decently long train. Really into this. I do like trains. Trains are really a thing. If you guys have known me for a very long time, you know I love trains, and that's just all there is to it. So I'm going to get Goldrun here out of the picture, and we're going to take a good look at Advenger, the train. He's a gigantic steam locomotive. He's got this flat car, which has got a huge crest here on the front of it. And it's got a hole right here, so that way you can pull it. And it also has the back end here, so that way you can hook another car to it. Now, if you guys know anything about Brave, this is actually a knockoff of the original train Advenger. The original actually came with a flat car, and it came with another one that basically held vehicles. It was like a car carrier train car, which was cool. But it's very neat. It does not actually have rolling wheels. These do not roll. It does have these little tie down points, which are kind of neat. So if you really wanted to tie something down to this, you could. I do find that cool. But it's just a big flat plastic piece, which is awesome. We're going to put this aside and take a closer look at the train itself. You eagle eye viewers out there probably noticed I do have the weapons. The weapons are attached here. These attach there actually during robot mode as well. But if you want to, you can take these off. And these can actually store here in the very back of the train. The back of the train actually opens, and this opens up so that way you can actually drive a vehicle up inside of it if you wanted to. It's one thing I do like about the Advenger train. It's got a lot of playability with it. Oops. Leave it to me to drop things, because that's what I do, because I'm clumsy. Let's turn Prime here back into his truck mode real quick, and then we'll see how well he fits inside Advenger. And he doesn't really fit very well. I mean, it's a cool look to see a semi-truck pulling out of the back of a train. But if you had smaller stuff, maybe a spy changer or something like that, because this is a very deep cavity. It actually goes quite a far distance in. You can store the weapons back here if you do not want them in its in the train mode. It does a very good job of that. Scale-wise, comparing to Laser Prime here. It's a big train. Very fitting. I do like it. Compared to Astro Train, Astro Train comes about here. I didn't go grab Astro Train off the shelf, otherwise I would show him next to him. But I do like my steam locomotives. And pull these out real quick and show you a couple little gimmicks that this thing does in its actual train mode. In train mode, this thing also has ability to do a couple other things. I call this, because you guys notice I got Decepticon emblems there on the front shielding pieces here. I happen to call this guy Skystalker. Consider him to be G2, because, you know, why not? Let's have a gigantic G2 train going around. I'm really into creating my own lore, and that's just something I do. But it does happen to have those little Decepticon emblems right there on the side. It's literally the same crest that it is on the shield, so it does happen to have stickers there for the windows, and lots of detail going through out the entire thing. These do not roll, unfortunately no rolling wheels, but at least it does have the pinned in portions here, which would be your bars that would help move the locomotive along. What's funny is this is the locomotive. This is actually a coal car, which is cool that the coal car is actually built into the locomotive. This is actually not a far-fetched thing, because there are some trains out there that have this situation going on. But let's go ahead and get into those gimmicks I was telling you about. One thing I tend to do, because I call him Sky Stalker, I will flip one of these coal portions here forward, and then I will take one of the guns and just lay the gun on top just like that. And then I'll take the other gun and stick it in the smokestack. And the smokestack, it doesn't really fit very well, so I will actually angle the smokestack up a little bit, so that way it can actually fire off in the air. And another cool thing that this thing will actually do is here on the coal car, it's got these fold out doors on both sides of it that fold out to reveal missiles. I do love that. And you know, you can just think this guy's just chugging along and say he's going to fire it at some Autobots that are in the air. Well, you can't do it because, you know, he's a Sky Stalker. He's stalking the skies, which is really neat. I do like doing this to him. I think it's a cool little fan mode type of thing I came up with, so I wanted to show that off. But anyway, let's convert all this here back to the way it was. And he does have one other little tiny thing he does. And this was actually gutted from the original toy. The original toy actually had this. You see this little red portion right here where the light on the train would be. You would actually be able to push this down, and this here opens up. This is a disc that would actually fire out. This doesn't fire out anymore, but you would be able to just press this and it will fly out. Much like your Generation 2 Rotoforce. It's the same thing. It was literally the same gimmick, except it just fired out of the front. If you notice though, he does happen to have tampering there on the front of the train, which is nice because it says C62 on there. And it's just a nice looking locomotive. I am really into this. I think it's awesome. I actually don't even mind the holes here. That doesn't even bother me at this point because it's just a cool train. It's very large too, which is kind of nice. This is undersized though compared to the original. The original is about this long. It is, I'd say this is about half the scale of the original. The original is a very large train. And these Brave toys are extremely hard to find anyway, so why not snag a knockoff, because these are cool. I do see these in the aftermarket quite often, so go and check those out. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into his transformation, because he does turn into a huge robot. First thing I'll do is I'll make sure these are kind of pushed in all the way, and then I'll flip this gold chrome hitch back and flip these little feet up, and I'll push down on these right here and then flip these around. That way it hides the hole, and then we'll flip up this center flip up the centerpiece, and then I flip these kind of just this direction for a minute. That kind of basically starts the whole waist portion. It's getting a little tall here. So the next thing I will do is I will take these portions here and angle them out, just to kind of get them out of the way. Now this whole thing here is on a rocker, so you got to be kind of careful here because this bottom portion here has to actually move. But before you do that, you'll want to move this gun completely out of the way. So you just kind of twist the gun and then fold it out like that. and then you'll twist him here at this waist portion. Now, mine is extremely stiff. I don't know how it is on other ones, but it's a very stiff thing, and it kind of scares me sometimes when I do this. Not saying it's a bad toy, I'm just saying be aware if you do get one of these. This is a very stiff joint right here, so you might have to kind of handle it gently, but you know, don't wrench on it, because if you do, you will break it. I tried to disassemble it to see if I can actually thinnen or take the portion here and actually make it thinner. It doesn't really work that well, so just keep that in mind. If you do get one of these, you might end up having to just loosen the screws a little bit to kind of give it a little bit of looseness. Now, if you do loosen them here, this portion here will want to try to fall off. But hey, it's not a bad knockoff. It really isn't. From this point on, you will flip these portions here up all the way. That way it just creates the waist portion, which is kind of nice. And then you'll flip this portion here down. Take these, and these will actually pull out, which are kind of nice. And then flip the little fists forward. Those arms down. And then you reach down here and you'll grab the smokestack and pop his head up. And here on the back, you got the one gun here that we folded out. And you'll just take it, drape it over his shoulder, and then you'll take this missile piece, and a little bit of a modification I did to mine. You notice the missiles aren't sticking out a whole lot. That's because when I originally got them, the missiles stuck out like this far. If you close this up, this train would not sit flush on the ground. So what I did is I just unscrewed this one screw, pulled this here apart, snipped those off, and then put this back in, so that way at least still has the red pieces here sticking out. And then just screwed it back here, and then bam, here you go, fixed. And you just raise this up all the way. And there you go, you got Avenger in his robot mode. And he is amazing. I love how this train guy looks. And check out his head sculpt. He's got a really interesting head sculpt. The head sculpt on him, it's really interesting. It looks like the front of the train, but it's not the front of the train. It's kind of cool how the silhouette here on the top matches this. And he has a kind of an Optimus Prime look, but not really. I do like him a lot. But this gun here does move up and down. You can tuck the gun away if you didn't want the gun hanging off his shoulder, and you can tuck this away if you didn't want that there. It's kind of nice that all that just tucks away if you don't want all the harness hanging out. This portion here does open up, just like the original would, and you'd be able to actually fire the disc if it actually fired, but on this one it does not. Mine's a little loose here, but you know what, that's fine. I don't care. It's just fine for me. It does have this as a motion if you want to use that as a point of articulation. These arms do go up all the way, and they do swivel out. So he can pose with his guns and stuff too. Speaking of guns, he has the two guns here. Here's a closer look at the, it's got a Gatling gun. It's a Gatling gun. I tend to just put in this one hand. And then he's got this like little twin kind of rail gun type of thing. And these will actually pin here on his arm. He does have another port right here, and that is for the train car. The train car has a post right here. It sticks out and allow you to plug this in. If I can see what I'm doing. Not really. You know, try and do this off with the camera in the way sometimes is a bit crazy. It's not a very long post though, I have to admit. I just kind of wished it was a little longer post, but I understand why it's not, because if it did, it would drag the ground when he's in robot mode. Why is this not going on? Of course it doesn't want to do this when I have the camera on. Jeez. There we go. Got it. Yay. Alright. There you go. And he's got a huge shield, which is kind of nice. I do like this a lot. It's pretty crazy how he's got this huge shield. The shield's basically the size of him, which is awesome. And I do like having the guns up and over his shoulders, because this just really adds a lot of armament to him. Like, he literally would be a force to be reckoned with, especially on the railroad tracks. And he does have ability, if you want to, you can split the legs and give him a bit of an A stance, if you really wanted to do that. But the original toy didn't actually do this. The original toy stayed closed, which personally I like better. It just looks better this way to me. But that's just me. I do have the ability still to open up those doors there, so if you wanted to, you can have ankle missiles firing. So, you know, you can do all the things. All the things at the same time. I know the original toy, these were actually firing missiles. These were actually firing missiles. So, the original toy had quite a bit. This downsized version is not bad. It really isn't. Plastic quality is not terrible either. That's one thing a lot of people out there probably are hesitant about. This is one of the earlier 2000s models, so it will have probably a few more options that the original don't. Posing next to Goldran, it looks really good next to him. I think this is a really nice pair. These two just look perfect together, actually. The scaling is pretty spot on, and I actually don't mind it. It's a very cool little train. I'm into trains a lot. I like trains, and it's just pretty cool to have a huge train guy that I've dubbed Sky Stalker to go with my Deathsaurus here. But there you go, size comparison there with Optimus Prime, my Laser Prime. Pretty cool. And then for you guys out there that have your little Titan Master dudes, there he is with Overkill, aka I like to call him Snapdragon. Very cool. I think they go together very well. And he does not actually have the same size ports that he does. Like, these are a little bigger, these are a little smaller, so you really can't interchange the guns, unfortunately, which would have been cool if I could do that. But these sit down so far, but I think this is due to the sword. The sword actually has to kind of fit in his hand, so it makes sense. And the sword will not fit in Advenger's hands. It just doesn't work that way. But I don't care. It's cool. I am digging this. This is totally amazing. And I don't know if you guys out there have ever had any of these, or if you ever plan on getting them or seen them before in the past. I suggest getting them. They're amazing little toys, and they're well worth your money. I really wouldn't pay a whole lot for them, but since these are becoming a little more rare, I don't know. I would probably snag a couple. Get one, leave it on card, and the other one I wouldn't. Anyway, that's been Plasticon. That's been yet another Transformers review. And, well, not really Transformers, but Brave series. I'm so used to doing Transformers. But, you know, there you go. Here's some awesome Brave stuff that I've turned into Generation 2 stuff, so there you go. This was Plasticon. This is me signing off. Peace out, y'all. See you around. Bye!